Welcome to Two Brits One Box. After crossing the border back into the US from Mexico, we spent a week exploring San Diego County in California. One of our first stops in San Diego was at Double Peak Park, which is accessible by car on the well-maintained roads, which means it's also great for anyone with accessibility needs. But if you do prefer more of a challenge, there are also hiking routes up to the peak. On a clear day, such as the day we went, the peak offers views of distant places such as Mexico, downtown San Diego, San Clemente Island, and much more. There is also a telescope that's located at the peak for use by visitors. Here was just one of the many spots that's popular with the surfers. If you were wondering where we stayed during this time, we actually stayed on the land with our new friend Todd, who was introduced to us by our Baja friends Erin and Joe. Todd was so accommodating and even invited us for dinner, treating us to some of his own homegrown olives from his olive grove, to go with Erin's infamous sourdough.
Yeah.
That was really good. That was lovely.
It's not just sourdough bread, it's this deliciousness.
The next morning, the sun was shining, and so we took a stroll around the amazing hidden gardens at Todd's. This was a year ago, and so the flower beds and olive trees have now grown, filled, and bloomed into an even more beautiful sight to what you see here. We would love to be able to go back and sit in this peaceful sanctuary with the new developed gardens and structures that have been added since we were there. It was obvious how much thought and artistry had been put into these wonderful gardens. This memorial is considered one of the most unique veterans memorials in America, the only memorial that honors veterans living or deceased, from the Revolutionary War to the current War on Terror. The memorial has stood at the height of San Diego since 1954, and it has gone through many trials to be what it is today, a beacon of freedom. Every plaque lists each veteran's or service person's accomplishments during their term. Thousands of people that stood before the memorial were able to honor and recognize the thousands of military men and women who sacrificed for the country. Since this week we didn't have the trailer attached to the truck, it was a lot easier for us to park up and be able to explore the city. It's definitely a city that the both of us would love to visit again. Whilst in this area, our neighbour Brian, from when we were living in Kamloops, put us in contact with his sister who lived here, and so we met her and her husband for dinner for one of the evenings. The food was absolutely lovely and I highly recommend this restaurant. The next day, we spotted Lexi Hadley and her van Clove. We'd last seen her in Mexico, so it was great to have a catch up and a coffee. She then kindly drove us to the event that we had been recommended, called TinyFest.
You're looking.
We got tickets at the door and walked around the centre where businesses were showcasing their tiny homes and tiny home solutions, as well as the eco homes, which resembled the small hobbit houses. There were also people showcasing their own tiny home, such as bus conversions and van conversions, as well as some rooftop solutions. so different, and it was really good to get different ideas for our own place.
There's a lot of people, huh?
And last but not least, we found the Amarillo Armadillo, Erin and Joe's DIY build home on wheels, where they live full time whilst teaching sourdough on the road. Here we said our final goodbye to them for this part of the trip and set north out of the city. Thank you again to Erin, Joe and Lexi for all being awesome human beings. Also, huge thanks to Todd for having us for the whole week at the Hacienda 6 Palms. We'll definitely be back again to visit. And an even bigger thank you to you guys for all watching. So join us in next week's episode where we camp and hike through Yosemite National Park. If you've enjoyed our travels so far, give us a like, comment, share and subscribe if you haven't already. For now, we'll see you next week.